Yezer bar Rav. Amar Rav Hachi, did Rav say this? Amar in. He says, yeah, go show me where he lives. Achvile, they showed him where he lives. Also, the Kamei de Rav, he went to Rav. Amar Mar Hachi. This is this concept of is there airspace? That means Ein Adam Oisra Chaver Derech Avir, that you don't answer somebody through airspace. Amar V'Hamar Hu de Amar. Aren't you the one who said Lozeb B'Shul Shul Lozeb B'Zrika Shnei Asuri? That if one uses the item through lowering and the other throws it, so they're equal. Shnei Asuri. And we were talking about the case where you have ruined houses in between two houses. So there also should be usher. It's not house, churba, house. It's house, two churbas on the bottom and one churba that connects the two houses directly. Since the two houses open to that one churba directly, that's why it's a different case. Does Shmuel not hold of Rav Bini that according to Shmuel, he prohibits even somebody uses through the airspace? He doesn't accept Rav Dini. Is that so? So yeah, Lema Shmuel less like Rav Dini. Let's say that Shmuel does not hold of Rav Dini. Let's say you have a post in Rosh Hashanah that's less than Arba al Arba. That's called a Makam Tour. Therefore, Mutal of Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Lekasiv Alav. People from Rosh Hashanah can place things on it. People from Rosh Hashanah can place things on it. Uvilvad Shlo Yachlifu. They can't switch. So it's being used through the airspace. They should aser. More simple. Hasam Rishuyas Deraisa. And it's a Makam Tour, and the Chachamim didn't have to be Goizer. Hacham Rishuyas Rabbanan. Here, by Eruv, we're talking about Rishuyas Rabbanan. The Chachamim also Chizik L'Divrei Yoiser Mishal Torah. Sometimes Chazal, when they make a rabbinic law, they make it even stronger than Duraisa. Did Rav say this? You have a house on either side of Rosh Hashanah. Now you told me Ein Adam Oiser Derech Avir, but here Rav is saying when we throw it across Rosh Hashanah, you're not allowed to do it. That seems to suggest that Rav holds that Avir is also of Rosh Hashanah. So Amalei Lavni Ukimna the Midlechad and Mitachechad. Over there, the case is different. One house is lower than the other. And the reason why Rav prohibited is not because they're using the airspace of the Rosh Hashanah. It's something else. Since one house is higher than the other, when you throw something, it may not reach it. It's going to roll into Rosh Hashanah. You will go from the Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah and carry directly. So it's a different gzeira. It has nothing to do with the airspace above the Rosh Hashanah.
What's the halacha? Can you throw something from my house to your house above Dalan, above?
If it's all above, remember, above 10 tefachim is a makam p'tur.
Yeah, makam
so
p'tur.
Everything happens above 10 tefachim Rosh Hashanah. It travels in a makam p'tur.
So from my house to your house.
No, but the problem is if you start with close to the ground, so then it's not. You start in Rosh Hashanah, you then enter the makam p'tur. Now you wouldn't be chayiv midoraisa because the akira and anocha you would never be chayiv, but it might be also midrabanan.
So, but
if everything took place above the makam p'tur, then it would be permitted.
So fine. If two neighbors next to each other and there's a shisrab in between, and I stand on my roof and he stands on his roof.
Here, I'll read you the halacha Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah.
Shnei batim Shahayu Mishnei Tzidei Rishus Harabim. Two houses that are on either. You have Olympic Boulevard. Let's say Olympic between La Cienega and Robertson has a lot of duplexes. That would be a Rishus HaYachid. And across the street, let's say Olympic is a Rishus Harabim. Im hayu shayachim la'adam echad, if the two houses belong to one person, or she'irvu, mutar lizrok mizel lezeh. It's permitted to throw from one to the other. Dafka kishazorik lamala masara tvachim, but you got to throw it above 10 tvachim. Uchshagovem shel shnei hamakom shaveh, and the two houses are of equal height. Avam in ein govem shaveh aser, because of the gzeira we just learned. Aval im zorek kli cheres v'chayotzu min hamishtakrim. Aval im zorek kli cheres v'chayotzu bo min hamishtakrim muter. V'mayu abati mishnei tzidei karmelis muter b'chol mikra. If the two houses, if in between the two houses was a carmelist, completely permitted. Again, as long as there's an eruv or owned by the same person. Okay?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Now that so if we were afraid that he would be short, his it would fall in the middle.
No, if the houses are not the same height, so then that they're concerned that it might fall, and then that's why it's usher.
All right.
I'm just getting something to drink because I've been talking for an hour and a half. 1 second.
Right.
Right.
Mishnah. Elazar, were you on the Navi Shir? Did you hear the Shiras Dvorah?
No, I didn't hear that Navi share. No. What did you start with?
No, we did Shiras Dvorah. We did half of it.
Oh.
I can send you the link.
Okay.
It's on my Facebook page too. We put it on the Facebook page.
Okay.
On Daf Doc and Facebook.
Okay.
Not yet.
No, not yet. But it was some very nice chazals from Shiras Dvorah.
By the way, on the side that they have in the Gemara that square in the Gemara. My cousin wrote me something about that. There's some significance in that on the text. We know what that is. I have to look it up. I'll send it to you. My cousin in Seattle mentioned, so he wrote something to me about that. There's some significance about that square in the Gemara.
Yeah, because I said that's the bias, houses on either side, then the churva, one next to another, and then there's one churva on top. That's the chatzuva, because that's where the houses are opening up into the shared churva. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's in the diagram it's very unusual to have the diagram in the Gemara itself. That's from
right.
That's from way back from the
right.
time of the.
But it's exact. You see, bias, churva on the top.
All in.
By the way, that was Shitas Rashi. Rashi did that.
Okay.
That's how Rashi learned.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Mishnah. Hanosin is a ruvo. You want to do eruv chatzeros, meaning multiple houses that open up into a chatzer. You have to make it that one owner is the owner of all those houses. So each person gives $1. You buy a loaf of bread. You put it in one of the houses. Becomes the owner of that. That guy owns the whole chutzner and all the batim. So the normal problem that we have, that each person cannot carry from their bias into the chutzner, even though they're both reshus hayachids, go away because it's owned by one person. Now you have to place the loaf of bread in one of the places. So if you place it in a Beis Shar, a gatehouse, an Alexandra, like a gazebo, umirpeses, or a balcony, nobody lives there. Ain't no eruv. An eruv has to be placed in places where people will sleep. And in fact, if Hadar Sham, if somebody sleeps in those places, ain't no osra Allah. It's not considered a dira. Therefore, if a person, let's say, sleeps there who doesn't participate in the eruv, he doesn't asr on the other people. However, based on teven, a barn which holds straw, ubeis habakar, a barn for animals, ubeis ha'etzim, a warehouse for firewood, ubeis ha'oitzrois, or a storehouse, a machsan. So I guess people did sleep there. Harei ze eruv, because I guess it's more protected. And if you put the eruv there, and the hadar sham, if somebody dwells there and doesn't participate, he asers. You know, let's say a person has tenants, but he keeps some of his items in the place where the tenant rents. It's considered like it's his, and therefore those tenants ain't no oser. The fact they're considered like his guests that are staying in his place, even though he rents it out. Anytime that we said that you're talking about a structure in the chutzner, that if somebody dwells there, he doesn't prohibit, then anos and eruvo ain't no eruv, because they go hand in hand. Chutz mi beishar de yochid. Let's say a person has an individual house with an individual gatehouse. So there people might dwell there. And it also, if the person dwells there, doesn't aser, but if you put the eruv there, it will work. So that's the exception to the rule. And wherever the Chacham gave us the rule, you shouldn't put an eruv there. Like we said, the Beishar, the Achsandra, the Mirpesas, manichim bo shituf. Now, when you have multiple alleyways with chatzeros opening up into the alleyways or the streets, the mavlis, and you want to combine all of those mavlis with a shituf mavuos. So there are rules also that govern where you're allowed to put that. So you can put it in places where people do not sleep. The only place that you can't do is me'avir mavli. You can't put it in the mavli itself. You can put it in one of the chatzers that open up into the mavli, but not the mavli. So the Gemara asks, "My kamash malon, what's the chiddush here, Tanina?" We learned all of this. I know since they grew Beishar Zaner with passes Eino Eruv. Eruv who do lo Avi shituf Avi, but a shituf it could work. So the Gemara answers, Beishar de Yochid va'avir de Mavo Yitzrachalei. The chiddush is this singular gatehouse, and placing the shituf in the airspace of the Mavli. Those things were not learned in the Mishnah, and we have to be taught that. And in fact, Tanya Namahoki, there's a brisa to support this on Noises Eruv Beishar Zaner Pesas. Eruv Chatzer that's put in one of these places. We say Uvachotzer in the Chotzer itself, Uva Mavoy, and in the Mavoy Hareze Eruv. Ivahatnan is the Mishnah says Ein Ze Eruv. So Ema, you have to say Hareze Shituf. It's not a Eruv, it's a Shituf, because it's placed in the Chotzer of the Mavoy. So shituf b'movei laminter. How could you put it in the mavli if you can't watch it there? We're talking about a courtyard that opens up in the mavli. People were eating a meal Friday afternoon, and they got so engrossed in the meal that all of a sudden Shabbos came, and they have a loaf of bread on the table. They can rely on that for the eruv. And the Amri law, some people say Mishum Shituf. And Amar Rabba V'lo Pligi, depends. Kanban Mesubim Baboyis. So that's would work for Erev Chatzeros. Kanban Mesubim B'Chotzer, which would work for the Shituf Mavros. Amar Rabba Rabba Tanya the Messiah law. I'll show you Baraisa to support what you said. Eruv Chatzeros B'Chotzer. An Erev Chatzeros is placed in the Chotzer. And Shitufa Mavros B'Mavos. V'Avina, but what do you mean? That just doesn't work. You have to say where do you place the Chatzeres? A house that opens up in the Chatzer. And where do you place the Shitut Nevuas? B'Chatzer Shabbat. And we don't im Yesham Tfisas Yad. Hey, Chidam Tfisas Yad. Because Chatzer Shal Bunyas ben Bunyas. Bunyas ben Bunyas was a tenant. I'm sorry, he was very wealthy. And he had in his chutzner, many people lived there, but he had a lot of items that were in there, those places as well, with the people who rented there. But so it's considered that he's the balabayas, and they don't aser, even if they don't participate in the Eruv. The Gemara tells the story, Ben Bunyas also kamei to Rebbe. Arlu panu makam ben mea moneh. Rebbe said, oh, make room for the millionaire. By the way, the Shulchan Aruch says, "Makom she'ena roy laniach bo eruv minichim bo shituf mevuos chutz ma'avrim," except you don't put it in the avrim mavli. And the eruv is put in a bias that opens up into a chutzner. Okay, Mirz Hashem tomorrow, 8:00.
Koyach.
Have a good day tomorrow.